All right, so I guess we can start. Well, first of all, thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Şafkat Milif, and I'm working for the Prime PMO as a project management consultant. Today, together with me, my colleague, Khan. He's a planning and the BIM specialist. He will be presenting the today's topic, and he'll be explaining how you can manage the cost and actually income with the within the Power project. Before we start, just a few things to remember. As you all know, you're all muted right now in order to avoid the background voice. This webinar will be recorded, and if you need to watch the recording, so it will be uploaded later on to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you did not.
Come back. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. This is Khan speaking. I'm project planning and BIM specialist in Prime PMO project management and consulting. And I will be presenting and also demonstrating the cost management with Powerproject. You can see our agenda for today. First of all, initially, I will briefly talk about my company, then I will introduce Powerproject, and then we will continue with the demonstration part. And you will today going to see the effective cost and income modeling, cost and income distributions, cash flow analysis, and S-Curce reporting with the earned value analysis. Please, if you have questions, you can ask any questions regarding the presentation, also the demonstration. We can always answer them. So as a Prime PMO project management and consulting company, we do provide PMO services, consulting and implementation services, also software or the project-based trainings within the scope of project portfolio management for the 5D BIM modeling, project analytics, BIM management, and you can see the all other services that we provide. And also, we do provide the market's best solutions to our customers. So for the project portfolio management, we have Powerproject and also the Oracle Primavera solutions. For the 4D BIM modeling, we use also Powerproject. For the 5D BIM cost estimation, we have Bitcon. For the 67D BIM operations, we have Ecodomus. For project analytics, diagnostics, we have Deltek Product Acumen. And also we have Primavera Schedule Reader. So let's get into much more about the Powerproject. Actually, Powerproject is not really a new software. It's been marketed over the 30 years. The UK company Elakasoft developed this product, and also Powerproject was awarded Best Project Management and Planning Product Award for the last 6 years. And also Powerproject is widely used in Europe and the UK side. And once you get the Powerproject, you can use it with the 10 different languages. Here you can see some of the projects that Powerproject have been used before. As I said before, most on the Europe and the UK side, Powerproject is being used, but you can see in the many areas, Powerproject serves the best solutions to our customers. And as you can understand from this chart, Powerproject serves for many type of projects. It can be a space shuttle, any airport, any infrastructure, or high towers. Powerproject has no limitations. And also here you can see some of the customers that have chosen Powerproject before. Of course, these are not the whole customers, but the worldwide known consulting and contractor firms, companies are using Powerproject. So what is Powerproject actually? It is a course scheduling tool. As I said, it's been marketed over 30 years, and always the powerful part of the Powerproject being the scheduling and the project management type. Of course, you can do earned value analysis, S-Curce, risk management, and line of balance methodologies within Powerproject. For the BI reports, Powerproject has direct integration with other systems. So in this way, you can always save many times for generating BI reports. Site progress mobile, any site engineers or your subcontractors from the site, they can update the progress with the mobile applications. They can add notes, take pictures, and directly affect the schedule with the progress data. Powerproject also has free project viewer. So what it means that if you're sending the project information, the other parties doesn't have to have any Powerproject license. They can view your project data with the free project viewer. And also for in Powerproject, we have 4D BIM modeling. 4D BIM actually is the combination between the schedule and also the 3D BIM model. You can see the portfolio management here. We can always control multiple projects on the same chart. You can see the bar chart or the right-hand side. Also with the spreadsheet, we can have many informations about these projects. It can be finished dates, finished variances, or any other cost resource information. We can always control the overall situation of the projects. And for the resource management, we can always allocate our resources. They can be permanent or consumable resources, and we can determine their how many hours or how many weeks they will work on our project. You can see with the supportive histograms, we can control our resource availabilities. For the cost and income management, actually today's webinar is all about the cost and income management. We can control our project costs, project incomes, and also the net cash flow analysis with the Powerproject. We can allocate our cost and income data. We have many types of the cost types, and also we'll be covering these topics as well. You can see actually we can categorize our costs according to labors, materials. It can be subcontractor or even the revenues. We can directly input the positive data in our program. For the earned value analysis, of course, we can generate duration-based, cost-based, resource-based, or overall percentage weightings. We can see the situation with the S-Curves, and we will be generating cost-based earned value analysis, of course, with the Powerproject in this webinar. We can perform risk analysis to generate the duration likelihoods, cost likelihoods, or margin likelihoods in Powerproject. You can always see with the tornado graph, the critical activities. Actually, the reports generation is really rich in Powerproject. You can customize these views. You can directly print out these reports, or you can export to Excel or PDF. You can save as a digital output as well. And you can see that we can add our cost histograms or resource histograms. If we have a 3D model in the progress report, we can always put the actual situation of the project as a model. For the BI, business intelligence, as I said, we have direct integration with the BI systems. So this means that we can always update these reports within 2 or 3 clicks. This means that we do not have to update the project informations every time that we want to generate these reports. As you can see in the sample, we can control our all projects. In the Gantt chart also, we can see it with the map view. We can add many information about our projects. These can be cost always, and the resource data as well for the top management control. Powerproject is an open API based system. So this means that if you have schedules with the Primavera P6 or Microsoft Project or Tilus, you can directly import or export your projects with those systems. And for the other systems, we can always make the customization because it is an open API based system. And also the last part of Powerproject is we have a 4D BIM part. If you have a schedule, and also the 3D models which are come from the design softwares with the IFC file format, you can combine the schedule with the model to perform 4D BIM planning. You can see that it can be a residential project, commercial project, or even a infrastructure project. But let's continue to our topic, which is a cost management, how we can control our costs and also incomes in our schedule. So you can see that ready schedule that I'm created right now. We have a two-story housing project. It is a simple project, and I have loaded my cost information with the schedule. I'm going to the format, and you can see that I can close my cost allocations to directly see only the activities and the relationship types. You can see that we have some codes on our schedule. These codes can be created for our crews, for example, or any other disciplines to filter out the activities. We can always filter out according to our code libraries. If I want to go to my program, I can only click the program to see all project. Also, you can see the structures of the project. I can always select them to filter out only the superstructure works. I can always see or the substructure, and if I want to go back to the program, the Powerproject show me the whole schedule. If I open the cost allocation in the file format tab, you can see that the many cost informations are allocated into our schedule. So these cost informations, how we can allocate is, you can see that on our project view, we have a cost centers here. So always we can create our cost or income centers in our project. So in order to create these centers, I can go to the view and click the library explorer. So this library explorer is actually, we can input the almost every data into library explorer to use afterwards in our project. You can see that the cost center folder is here, and the project cost is located here. If I want to create any different new cost center, I can create, or any folder, and after I go into the folder, I can create the cost centers. So this way is actually allows us to categorize our costs. You can see the equipment, labor cost, material cost, even other resources, material costs it can be, or revenues. You can see that the type of this center is not the cost, but it is an income, for instance. So I want to go back to my schedule again. You can see that once we allocate the cost informations, we can output these data in many currencies. So you can see that this is the pound or US dollars. Again, I can go back to the library explorer, currency unit. You can see that I can create an unlimited number of currencies that I can use in my project. You can see that US dollar, I need to input any exchange rate against the pound to make this calculation. And after that, let's open our tables. Right click to table definition. I can add many cost information on my view. You can see that this cost GBP is also the cost field, and we have many cost fields in our table. We can always filter out the data. You can see that this override currency is pound, and the cost center is project cost. We can use many project costs, and we can always filter out our cost information. So you can see that we have a payment cost center. So I will, of course, later I will discuss. We can always choose the cost center. So for the US dollar, you can see override currency is USD, or even the monthly cost. You can see that this is the monthly cost May. I can determine a date. You can see the start of the project and at the end of the May. The Powerproject always showing me this monthly cost. If you go to the June monthly cost, you can see that start date is the first day of June and the end day of the June, we can filter the information on our spreadsheet. So how we can allocate our the cost information is, I can delete this subcontractor excavation. So this actually represents that I have given excavation works to a subcontractor. Let's delete this one, and you can see that excavation cost information is zero right now, of course. And after that, I can go to my project costs. You can see that I need to subcontractor, I need to allocate this to my excavation works. What I can do is I can drag this information and drop to my activity. So this way, you can see that the subcontractor work is allocated with my excavation. So you can see automatic data is inputted. Of course, anytime we can change this one by double clicking to my subcontractor cost information. So I want to show you about some things for the calculation types. You can always say that this subcontractor work, okay, we've arranged a fixed cost of, let's say, 50,000 US dollar for this work. So what fixed cost means is that it is not going to relate with any duration or any other parameters. So this excavation is 15-day activity. If I increase this to 20 days, you will see that the monthly cost is always changing because the coefficients are changed according to my dates. You can see Control Z. It was 30,000 to 20,000 US dollars, but right now with the 20th day of this activity, the distribution is changed. But the total cost is not changed because we are always said that this cost is the fixed cost. So it is not going to depend on the time. Let's go back and say that this is a 15-day activity. And I want to use, for instance, for the subcontractor, it can be a not the time-based, but we can use the task work-based because excavation works always in generally determined by the quantities. So this is why I need to use the task work-based calculation type. What task work means is excavation work quantity data should be inputted as well into our schedule. That is why I need to right click to task work category. You can see that I can add many information to my spreadsheet. It can be a date, it can be progress informations, earned value informations, or task work to input my quantities. So that's why I need to input add this column. And in the excavation, let's assume that we have 10,000 meter cubes of excavation works. So this information is allocated with our activity directly, but it is not right now calculated correctly with the cost information. So subcontractor cost, you can see that task work based, and we need to allocate per meter cube cost information. So let's say that we pay the subcontractor per meter cube 50 US dollar. So you can see that automatically, according to the per meter cube quantity, Powerproject will calculate the total cost of this activity. You can see that our cost increased to 500,000 US dollars. So again, this information will not affect it to duration. I've increased my activity to 20 days again, but the total cost remains same because we are using only the quantity information. Now, let's go back a little bit, and by this way we can generate always more realistic cost informations, or we can use the fixed cost. if we know the cost of this activity, of course, we could calculate this in any other way. So if we know the total cost of any activity, we can directly choose the fixed cost and then input this data. It is not going to depend on any other parameter. And for the equipment, for instance, you can see that for the piles, I'm paying for an equipment is almost 15,000 US dollars. Of course, you can see that the other currency information as well. Let's use this equipment. So in generally, mobile cranes or tower cranes are working with hourly. So that is why we can use time-based cost for our equipments. You can see that while I've chosen the time-based calculation type, Powerproject asks me to input any time units. So we can always select day, month, or as I said, for the tower crane or any mobile cranes, any other excavation equipments, they generally cost with the hourly, so they can we can determine hourly. For instance, 200 US dollar I'm paying for any excavator or any other equipment. So once I've inputted this data, you can see that Powerproject will calculate our equipment cost according to my hourly cost data. You can see that this time what is going to change is if I increase my piles, you can see that the piles activity is 1 week activity. Let's go to the override time unit and we can select the day information to output this as a day. So 5-day working activity. If I increase this to 10-day, you can see that the other labor or the materials didn't increase because these other costs are using the fixed cost, but equipment cost uses time-based. That is why once the duration is increased or doubled in the sample, you can see that the cost is always doubled accordingly. So these cost calculation types always covers with the income as well. We can by drag and drop we can allocate our incomes as well and calculate the income according to our quantity. It can be time-based or any fixed cost. So let's move on to the charts. So how we can control these information to with the charts. I can open my diagrams. So you can see that in US dollars, we can see in the first chart, this is our monthly costs. And also in the other chart, we can see we have some problem here. Okay, I can see right now. We can always control our resources with the histograms. So you can see that the excavation works starts with the, we can add start date and also finish date to control the monthly cost. You can see that the excavation starts with the 18th of May. So this time we see that 300 US dollar represents for the May. You can always see this information with the monthly cost information, and the other 326 US dollar represents the monthly cost of June. Of course, you can see that we start on the June. We start pile activities, footing activities. So in overall, you can see that the monthly cost will be 326 US dollars. And you can see, of course, also the cumulative costs. You can see that 300 is at the end of the May, but at the end of the June, it will be addition of 300 and 326. You can see the cumulative costs and according to my schedule, how it is generating my cost, how it increases, I can control these information with the histograms. Of course, every time, once these activities changing, you can see that the all monthly costs are changing as well. So if we move, you can see that automatically all the information is changing according to distribution of the activities. So we can always Control Z, or even we can go to the initial step of my schedule. We can go back, or if we are comfortable with the duration and also everything, we can always reschedule our project to make the optimization. So what I want to mention here is this is actually our earned value. Of course, after inputting some progress, we can generate earned value analysis. But let's do this, for instance. So you can see that this is our cumulative costs information, how it is generated. You can see this one. We can always estimate, not the estimate, we can always arrange all the information on our spreadsheet, and we can save these as a view. So these views are actually same thing in P6 as a layout. You can see that I can move to another view, that this is our progress entry view. You can see that what I did is, of course, we can go back to our baseline cost information. So that's why I want to turn this as a fixed 50,000. Okay. And for the piles, what was the piles? You can see that it is 250 total planned cost. So you can see that we need to increase a bit more to 15. Okay, it doesn't always matter. So you can see that this is the planned cost, which is calculated by our baseline. We can always, once we finish resource and cost loading, we can always go to the project and save these information as a baseline. You can see that under our schedule, our baseline is on the Gantt chart. We can always hide them or show them here. And also this planned cost column uses baseline information. So you can see, if we open the table definition, you can see that this uses the current baseline information. We can always add multiple baselines and choose the specific baseline to output the information. And also, after the inputting some progress onto our schedule, you can see that the actual cost is how it is generating. In order to enter the progress, you can see that the project report date is start date of the project, and you can see it on the Gantt chart. Is the black line represents the start date of the project. In order to create the progress periods, we can go to the Library Explorer. Under the progress periods, you can see that we can determine a specific date to reschedule it afterwards. It can be weekly, it can be monthly. In order to control our costs, of course, we will then proceed with the progress payments. That is why I created a monthly progress period. So at the end of every month, I need to update the schedule. So I'm going back to the progress entry, and you can see under the progress page, we have month 1, month 2, and month 3. So let's right click to month 1 and set this as a progress entry period. You can see that where the progress is here right now is the 0%, and you can see always on the Gantt chart where the progress should be at the end of the May right now. So we are on the May, and the project is of course, started. That's why I'm inputting this information. And you can see that our milestone is shaded with the specific progress period color, which is defined here in the Library Explorer. The first month represents the red lines. I'm going again. And then it calculated me that the overall percent complete should be 60% according to my calendar. So let's say that, okay, we didn't perform the 60%, but we did the 50% of this activity. And you can see that the actual cost is automatically calculated to 25,000 US dollars. In total, it was 50,000. You can see that. And we can calculate this one, not to calculate, reschedule this one according to our progress period, which is at the end of the May. You can see that the gap is being created according to our delay. And after that, we can always update the actual cost information. So this is calculated automatically 25,000 US dollars, but let's say we generated 26,000 of US dollars. So this information will directly affect our cost view. You can see that the excavation cost is here. Of course, this cost is actual cost here. And right now, it is directly updated according to my progress entry. Let's go to the project, and I want to use the earned value reporter here. I'm creating the earned value reporter. I'm clicking next, and I want to use the cost. Okay. And then it asks us to choose which cost center we need to use. Always we didn't use the payment cost center right now at the moment. That's why I'm choosing all the project cost centers. I'm clicking next. It asks us to select the baseline for as soon as possible. I'm selecting my baseline here. If I had any as late as possible baseline, I could select as well. And I want to analyze all project. Of course, we can analyze a specific WBS, but I want to analyze whole project. That's why I'm selecting the current project. And let's create finish. And right now, Powerproject will calculate us the earned value informations. Of course, this information will be cost-based. We could select the other parameters, but we are right now trying to see what is going to be the earned value at the end of the project according to our baseline. And you can see that the 1 month update, we are updated our schedule. So it asks us that it created our report. I'm clicking OK, and directly Powerproject creates me a Excel output. You can see that the program for equipment, you can see how it is changing over the baseline and the actual data. You can see that this is the live, and the green one is the planned. You can see how it is changing, how the progress differencing with the equipment. Of course, you can see the labor, material, and any other cost centers. You can always control your cost informations with those charts. What I understand from this chart is equipment. If we look at the equipment, you can see 50,000 US dollar was at the end of the excavation work. You can see a slightly different than our planned information. So the live information, we will going to earn this value at the date of 1st of August. You can see that, but slightly if you move that information, the 25th of July was the, according to baseline, this earned value information. So we can see how the difference occurs in our histograms with the S-curves. You can see that as well. But the issue here is these earned values actually didn't represent our any payments. Do we know that at the end of this July, we have 50,000 US dollars in our bank account to proceed with our payments with to our subcontractors or any other cash flow analysis? Of course, this is the main problem that the project occurs. The project controls, cost control teams are seeing that they've earned these values, but the payment is almost 15 days or 30 days become delayed. That's why they can suffer with the cash flows. That is why I want to continue with the payment view. You can see that the excavation work is, let's move this one to baseline. So you can see that this was the 50,000 US dollars to my excavation work. And you can see that 25th, which this one is the actual cost. So according to 50% of complete, you can see 25,000 of US dollars are completed, earned in month of May. So that is why I need to represent these informations to my payment control view. That is why I need to use these ones again. I need to allocate this one. Okay, we can allocate these also on our summary activities. We do not, of course, I'm just guessing that this is makes some problem because of the progress information. So I'm just saying that at the end of the 15th of June, we will going to pay the first excavation works, and the other will be 3,000 US dollars. Again, the fixed date, it can be July 15th. So we can distribute these ones. Let's add our histogram again. Payment, total cost. So you can right now see that 25 US dollars we are going to pay in the June, and at the July we're going to pay $26,000. So what about the incomes, right? We of course have incomes as well according to these progress payments. The subcontractors report their progress payments to us. Let's assume that we are the contractor and we get the money from the client. And we can allocate this income as well. And this time we see that we can always this as a point spent, fixed. How we can determine the income is, you can see that the cost of the May was the 25,000, and let's assume we are of course putting some interest, contractor interest, so we can get $35,000. Again, the fixed date, but let's assume that at the end of the May we report this payment, but our client pays at the end of the other month. So you can see that we will going to receive our first payment on 30th of June. You can see this point span, how it is located. So what this actually means is that at the end, until the end of the June, I cannot receive any payment. But our earned value was showing that I need to, you can see where our initial payment locates, but according to our schedule, we need to earn 156 US dollars. So this difference actually creates the cash flow problems. That is why we need to control this payment. Also, as a, let's see the net cash flow, we can see that after the first payment to our subcontractor, we need to finance almost 25,000 US dollars to finance this payment to our subcontractor. After that, we receive our payment from the client. You see that we go to positive data, and after that, the other excavation works is done here. And if we input the other payments to our schedule as well, you can see that how the net cash flows will demonstrate according to our payments. We can always open these. You can see currency is US dollars. We can open Legend to see this is the net, and this is only the cost. So that is why we always encourage project professionals to always track their payments as well. And actually, the main importance of here is Powerproject allows us to do the earned values, the progress, and also the payments in the same software.